We're back with another edition of this long-running series.
I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the MrEliMac channel. I'm your host MrEliMac and this is Pitch This here on the channel, and we are back with part 6 of potentially 10 of What If the Arrowverse with Marvel. We are sort of in the penultimate area where a lot of these shows are about to be ending, mainly like the big show of Arrow and the penultimate crossover of Elseworlds. Like, we're not in the final seasons and the final big crossover, but we're sort of in that penultimate era. And so without any further ado, let's just get into it without any more delay. So Arrow Season 7, we all know what that is at this point. That is the Captain Season 7, where we have Captain America, Steve Rogers back in it, Sam Wilson, Falcon, Bernie Rosenthal, John Walker, U.S. Agent, Bucky Barnes, Winter Soldier, Natasha Romanoff, Black Widow. We see the return, because in Season 7 of Arrow, Roy Harper came back for a stint as a lead character, so we're going to be seeing the return of Jack Monroe, aka Nomad. He's returning after his sabbatical. Klaus Voorhees, aka King Cobra, who again is my Ricardo Diaz sort of analog. He will be returning in this season as well in sort of the main cast, mainly because Ricardo Diaz was a part of the main cast. Sharon Carter's returning. And our main antagonist for this show, who in Arrow Season 7, the main antagonist was Emiko, who was sort of the sister of Oliver in Season 7 of Arrow. I wanted to continue with that trend of it being like a daughter of a major character, but instead of it being like the daughter or the sister of Steve Rogers, I'm not doing that. Instead, the main antagonist, and again the final sort of member to round out this main cast, is Cynthia Schmidt, aka Sin, the daughter of Red Skull. And I know, like, trying to get the logistics of, wait, she's the daughter of Red Skull, how is she still alive? It's simple. She was put on ice when she got of age. Sort of like how Red Skull was put on ice. Look, there are a lot of questions that we can go into. Maybe she's the great-granddaughter, maybe she is the granddaughter. There's so many things that we could do to make it seem a little bit more realistic, but I'm just telling you all right now, like, comic book-wise, she is the daughter of Red Skull, and I really don't want to go into more depth on any major changes I want to go into yet. I just know that she's our main antagonist, and she's gonna pretend to be a supporting character early on, but she's ultimately the big bad. And some of the other recurring characters, and also because this is a major storyline that happened, that in Arrow, he went to jail in this season. He went, like, the first few episodes was Oliver Queen in prison, so I would do that as well of Steve Rogers is in prison for the first few episodes, and sort of the major characters that we see in prison with him are, and these are characters that would have appeared throughout the show's entire run as, like, characters that would appear in, like, one-off episodes, or maybe they were recurring antagonists throughout the entire show, but they weren't, like, major focuses of the series. So some of them are Carl Morgenthau, aka Flag Smasher, Ebenezer Lofton, aka Scarecrow, and Joseph Manfredi, aka Black Wing, where we get into the ultimate main antagonist of this prison arc, which would have been Hector Lennox, aka Scourge of the Underworld. Now, Hector Lennox is actually a different character. He was sort of a character called Left Winger, I believe, in the comics. He has an ally named Right Winger, but I didn't want to go that route with the character, so Hector Lennox in the comics was an ally of U.S. Agent, and I sort of wanted to have a character that you could look at and be like, oh, he's sort of a heroic character, and he was connected to one of our heroes, and so we can sort of see how he can go down the dark end. And Scourge of the Underworld is a character that really doesn't have a lot of aliases. Well, he has a lot of aliases, but no one knows who he really is. So I just thought, hey, wouldn't it be interesting if Scourge of the Underworld is just one of the people in the prison, but no one knows who he really is. So Hector Lennox is in jail for a completely different reason. but then it gets revealed that he's the Scourge of the Underworld, which is just a guy who kills a lot of villains. And so that's sort of the storyline of Scourge. Hector is there, Scourge of the Underworld, like we sort of see different criminals in this prison dying and no one knows who's doing it. Everyone's assuming it's Cap. And then ultimately it's revealed that Cap discovers that it's Hector, and because of this, Cap was already on his way to getting released, but with this, that sort of pushed him forward. I'm like, okay, you helped us do a good thing, and you saved some people, and so yeah, we're gonna let you out. And so that's sort of the prison storyline. And then we get characters, again, the child characters of James Carter and Kobik, they're returning. And then we get into sort of let me just go ahead and do all the returning characters. We have Layla Taylor returning, we have Maria Hill returning, who are sort of like, look, I don't like Cap and I don't like all of you heroes, but he is a necessary evil that I have to have, and so we're just gonna have Cap here. And Rachel Leeton, aka Diamondback, she's returning as sort of more of a supporting character who's on the way of redemption, and not so much as an evil character. But now some of the newer characters that we're going to be getting, people who are going to be working mainly with Sin, because in this season of Arrow, there was the Ninth Circle, and they were sort of the main antagonists. They were sort of the main evil organization in Arrow season 7, and so in this one, I'm just making it the Secret Empire. I'm just saying it is the Secret Empire instead of trying to name it something else and try to make it all cutesy and funny. Or not funny, but like cutesy. I'm just calling it the Secret Empire. It's completely different than what is the actual Secret Empire in the comics, for both the original version and the version with Captain Hydra. So this is something completely different. Of the major like antagonists who sort of work as the longbow hunters of this season are Melina Vostokov, aka Iron Maiden, Snapdragon, and Lloyd Block, aka Nefarious. I just realized something. Black Widow does return. Okay, I wanted to make sure I said Black Widow did indeed return, because Melina Vostokov and Natasha would have a history with each other, because Melina would also been someone in the Black Widow program. She just became Iron Maiden, and she's an antagonist in this season. But sort of the main leader, like the Dante character of Arrow season 7, the person who trained Emiko, would be someone that would be connected to the past of Steve Rogers. And this is sort of a season where it's like, okay, we're getting some characters from Steve's past, but we're not doing flashbacks because they're not major characters from his past. They're just characters that were involved. And because Sin was the daughter of Red Skull, that automatically makes her a character connected. So someone that was helping her and training her to get to this point was a character named Lord John Falsworth, aka Baron Blood. He was the vampire character for Captain America in the 1940s. He's related to Union Jack as well. And so I'm just having him, like, because he was a vampire, it's like, oh, he's alive, he's a vampire. And so that's how that happens. And Captain America is fighting the Secret Empire, and his team are fighting the Secret Empire, and they win. Sin dies, and then we get the finale of the season of, oh, Steve is going to be doing something. I don't want to reveal it yet. I want to wait until I get to the crossover. But something that's also important to the season 7 storyline of Arrow is the future, because they do flash forwards and stuff that is important to the future of the Arrowverse. And so I'm doing that as well. So we're going to be we're having a backup plot that involves flash forwards, which the major characters of the flash forwards are James Carter and Kobik, of course. James Carter is, again, sort of playing the William character, and Kobik is still playing the daughter of Wild Dog. She's sort of playing that part. But then the other major characters are, and I'm not doing, like, we'll have cameo or little moments of characters from our current timeline in the Flash Forward, but I really wanted to focus the future cast on, these are some of the newer characters that will be involved in that storyline. And sort of the Mia Queen character, the Mia Smoke character, the Black Star character, the daughter of Captain America, that character is Shannon Carter. And in the comics, she's from the MC2 universe, and her hero name is American Dream. When we introduce her, she'll just be known as The Dream, and she doesn't want to be called that. That's just a nickname that people give her, and she's like, I'm not a dream. I'm not your dream. I'm not any of that. And that's sort of her story. And another character who's sort of serving as the Connor Hawk character, it will be Kevin Masterson, aka Thunderstrike. And a lot of these characters, I'm sort of taking children characters from the main 616, James Carter from that Next Avengers Heroes of Tomorrow, and the MC2 characters, because I feel like that they're very important to trying to get all these different futuristic storylines and future characters from the future of the MCU, or not of the MCU, just of Marvel Comics, and putting them together to make this new version of the future. And the main antagonist of this flash forward storyline would be Hope Pym, aka Red Queen. And in the MC2 universe, Hope Pym is a villain, and she calls herself the Red Queen, and I wanted to continue that thread and not go the direction of Ant-Man and the Wasp or the MCU Ant-Man movies where Hope is actually a major supporting character in the Wasp. And so yeah, that's the Captain Season 7. And now we're going to be going over into Iron Man Season 5, and sort of our main characters, our main returning characters are Tony Stark, Iron Man, Pepper Potts Stark now, Bethany Cabe, Rhodey, Rhodes, War Machine, Harry Cleese, Hercules is returning, Rumiko Fujikawa is returning, Edwin Jarvis and Happy Hogan are also returning. And this season we also see Arno Stark become a major character in the season, where we introduced Arno as in the not post-credit, but sort of the ending block tease for Season 4. And so in this season, he is one of the major characters. He is the son of Tony and Pepper. And so that's how he sort of is with this universe. And in the future, when he's a hero, he calls himself the Silver Centurion, and he wears the Silver Centurion armor that Iron Man wears, like the silver mask, the silver arms, like he wears that armor. He doesn't wear the armor of Iron Man 2020 because I really wanted to give Arno Stark a different superhero name, and Ironheart is better fit for Riri Williams, and for Arno, I didn't want to just call him Iron Man, so I just decided to call him Silver Centurion because that's just like the armor that he wore. And now when it comes to the main antagonist of this season, I'm doing another callback villain from previous seasons, and the main antagonist would be Ezekiel Stane, aka the son of Obadiah Stane. He would be the main antagonist, and he would call himself Technovore. And the reason why I'm calling him Technovore is because in the Marvel anime stuff that they were doing with the anime versions of Marvel, they had Ezekiel Stane in it, and they called him Technovore, and he was sort of that main antagonist character. And so I just decided, all right, I'll just do that. I'll just make him Technovore. And so because we're going to have another story that has some future foreshadowing in it, we have some characters that will be major characters right now, and we'll be sort of introducing a character later on in the series. But I just wanted to go ahead and get some of these characters out of the way. But we will be showing stuff from the future dealing with Arno and Technovore of the future. But some of the recurring characters that we will have are Bambi Arbogast, who was introduced last season as sort of like the shrink of Tony, and so she's continuing to be that shrink character for him. And we have some Susie Endo, Cybermancer, is still in the show to sort of serve as the main love interest of War Machine, but also being a major player in the Team Iron Man organization. And now sort of the three newer characters who are sort of more the antagonistic characters. She would be sort of a younger character in terms of when she's in the present day, but in the future she's a major antagonist that fights against Silver Centurion, Arno Stark, and that is Sasha Hammer, aka Technovore 2, and she sort of serves as the daughter of Ezekiel Stane. And who is Ezekiel Stane with? He is with Justine Hammer, aka the daughter of Justin Hammer. And I wanted to go ahead and introduce the Hammers and Sasha is the daughter of Justine and Ezekiel Stane. And I wanted to go ahead and introduce the Hammer family. That way, in the future seasons of Iron Man, we can sort of be acclimated to the Hammers. And we know already what the Hammers are all about, because Justin Hammer will be coming in the future. And someone else that I'm introducing this season who would sort of serve as one of the people that are helping Technovore doing all this evil stuff that Ezekiel Stane is doing is Brennan Doyle, aka Mauler. He is a supporting antagonist of the show, and he is someone that in the comics has worked with Ezekiel Stane before, and so I'm just having him serve as this character. Now, in the original comics, Sasha Hammer and Ezekiel Stane are the people that are in a relationship, but I really wanted to change that because I really wanted to use Justine, and I think Sasha, the way I'm retelling the story, works better for her to be the future threat and someone that is connected to the future than with the current day. And so yeah, that is Iron Man Season 5. And again, we will have an episode that will homage all the stuff of the prior seasons of The Flash. Now we move on to Spider-Gwen Season 4. And this is a fun one. I just realized it's on multiple pages. But anyway, the major characters that are returning are Gwen Stacy, Spider-Woman, Randy Robertson, The Hornet, Gloria Grant, Felicia Hardy, Kitty Pryde Shadowcat, who was a supporting character last season, or recurring character last season with the version of S.H.I.E.L.D., is now with Team Spider-Woman. Matt Murdock, he was a major antagonist throughout the show, but now he's finally in the main cast. Anya Corazon, aka Aranya, she is someone that is debuting this show. She's sort of serving as Dreamer, someone who is a newer hero in the mix, and someone that Spider-Woman is really going to take under her wing and sort of helps train to be a hero for the future. Jean DeWolf is returning, and George Stacy is returning. And this season is very much when the Hand is a little bit more prominent. Like last season with Venom, the Hand was there sort of as a major antagonistic force. They just weren't like major villainous forces. But this time in Season 4, the Hand are very much like, we are the villains in this season, and we're going to continue doing that. And that's why Matt Murdock is sort of serving as like the leader of this organization. He's the leader of the Hand, and he's sort of serving as sort of the main antagonist of the show. And some of the recurring characters mainly that are working with the Hand are Maki Matsumoto, aka Lady Bullseye, Alexei Sitsevich, aka Rhino, who is returning from Season 1. He'd been away since Season 1, and so I wanted to bring him back since in Earth 65, he was a part of the Hand, and so I wanted to bring him back for that. And Carlos La Muerto, aka Black Tarantula, he is someone that I'm introducing to be a member of the Hands. Lady Bullseye and Black Tarantula, members of the Hand, or I think Lady Bullseye mainly was a member of the Hand in Earth 616, and Black Tarantula was a character who was a major antagonist of Spider-Man in Earth 616, and I wanted to try to flesh out the Hand, and they're sort of continuing to be that fleshed out villainous organization. Another character that is sort of working with the Hand is Silvio Manfredi, who is sort of the vice president of the United States, and that's sort of where we're going with that direction. And maybe he's not even the vice president, maybe he's just the mayor of Boston at this point, and so he's sort of being worked around with Matt Hardy, and Matt Hardy, that's wrestler, Matt Murdock in the Hand. And other characters, Elektra Nachios is someone that is introduced in this show. This is very much a lot of Daredevil characters being brought into this, but Elektra Nachios is someone that works for the Hand and very much serving as Matt Murdock's second. Karen Page is someone that is introduced that's trying to stop the Hand and work with the good guys. Foggy Nelson is returning because he debuted in Season 3. He's returning for Season 4. And then we get the return of Frank Castle, aka Punisher, and he's sort of serving as the Manchester Black character in this show, where George Stacy's mainly focused on the Punisher and trying to stop the Punisher. And it's really George Stacy that beats the Punisher. And Frank Castle isn't alone, and he's got Rachel Cole Alves really working by his side, and her character in the comics, I believe, was Lady Punisher. I don't know if it was named Lady Punisher or just she was just called a Punisher, but I know for a fact that a lot of people, I think, called her Lady Punisher for a bit. And they're sort of, Frank and Rachel are sort of working together, and George is very much focusing on trying to stop them. And we also get the introduction of Hobie Brown, which is someone that is sort of going to be working under Randy's wing, and he's sort of serving as the character that is, oh man, I can't remember her name. I think it's Kelly Olsen, and Kelly Olsen is the sister of Jimmy Olsen, and so I really wanted to start bringing in that idea of Randy has someone that he's looking after, or he has someone that is by his side, and that's very much Hobie in this show. But I know everyone's wondering, because Season 4 of Supergirl is when Lex Luthor gets introduced, and there's an evil Supergirl in it, who is like Russian Supergirl. And so we're going to be getting that into this season, but instead of it being a Russian Spider-Woman or someone from a different country. So I'm doing something with Gwen Stacy with that sort of area that is similar to the Earth 1610 Gwen Stacy, where Gwen Stacy is Carnage. So we had Venom in season 3, now we're going to have Carnage, but it's a clone of Gwen Stacy, and that's sort of where we get into that little area where the true main antagonist of the show is not Matt Murdock, it's not the Hand, it's the person that's sort of been the puppeteer of all of them, which would be Wilson Fisk, aka Kingpin. The Kingpin would be sort of my Lex Luthor analog of Spider-Woman and Spider-Gwen, and he's sort of serving as the major threat of them all. And Felicia Hardy is very much the Lena Luthor character, and she is someone that would be connected to Wilson Fisk. Matt Murdock would be connected to Wilson Fisk. The Hand is connected to Wilson Fisk. Wilson Fisk is the big bad of Spider-Gwen Season 4, and I think that very much works, especially with the idea of how much Kingpin is associated with just all of Spider-Man and Daredevil, and because I'm bringing a lot of the Spider characters and a lot of the Daredevil characters into this one season, I thought, yep, it only makes sense. Kingpin, here we go. And that's Spider-Gwen Season 4. And now we move on to the Legends of Tomorrow Season 4 analog, which is, again, we all know, Exiles Season 4. The major characters that are returning this season are Claire Ferguson, aka Blink, Kevin Sidney, aka Morph, Calvin Rankin, aka Mimic, Mariko Yoshida, aka Sunfire. I'm focusing on major character returns. Magnus, the Magnus AI, Heather Hudson, aka Sasquatch, Victor Creed, aka Sabretooth. Some of the major characters that are sort of the new main cast that were from last season are Amara Akia, aka Magma, Jennifer Walters, aka She-Hulk of Earth 12, she's here, and Dr. Stephen Strange of Earth 41101. They're sort of the major characters that were introduced last season that are now joining the main cast. And the one person who was sort of the new cast member, who was sort of serving as the Mona character who was introduced in Season 4 of Legends of Tomorrow, that will be this character, is Kamala Khan, aka Miss Marvel of Earth 16101. I wanted Exiles to start introducing more characters that weren't X-Men characters, and that's why She-Hulk and Miss Marvel and Doctor Strange are sort of major characters in this season as well, besides the fact that Stephen Strange is basically my Constantine character. And sort of the recurring characters are Tabitha Smith, aka Boom Boom, who is sort of serving as the Gary character. Again, Magma was serving as the Ava Sharp character. Boom Boom is serving as Gary. And some characters that were being introduced that are connected to Heather Hudson, who is sort of serving as the sort of related characters to Hank Henshaw. Those characters, the Hank Henshaw and Hank Henshaw's mom, Nate's parents, are James Hudson, aka Guardian, and Narya Snowbird, who are other members of Alpha Flight. Those are sort of serving as those characters. And then we sort of have our fairy godmother character, because Legends of Tomorrow is when we sort of started introducing the fairy tale characters. I didn't go that crazy. I didn't start introducing fairy tale characters and all that, but instead I'm sort of having a character that is connected to our main antagonist, and sort of that fairy godmother character who sort of serves as the secondary antagonist is Cassandra Nova of Earth 15730. Can't remember exactly what Earth that is in the Marvel Universe, but she is someone that is connected to our main antagonist, who our main antagonist is Amal Farouk, aka Shadow King. And I'm having Shadow King sort of serve as a character outside of the multiverse, and he is sort of someone that is connected to Doctor Strange very much, especially this version of Doctor Strange, and sort of serving throughout the multiverse as sort of a character that is infecting the entire multiverse and trying to take over the multiverse. Again, Neron is sort of trying to make the world feel hate and evil and all that, and Shadow King is sort of trying to have everyone be in their darkest thoughts, and it's up to the Exiles to beat them, and they beat them. And that's Exiles Season 4. And the Exiles show is also not connected to the crossover, just like how the Legends of Tomorrow show isn't connected to the crossover from the Arrowverse. But yeah, that's that's Exile Season 4. And now let's move over to the Black Lightning Season 2 analog, which is Night Thrasher Season 2. Again, a show that was very much, I wanted to test myself. I didn't want to go straight to Luke Cage. I wanted to try a different character that's sort of similar to Black Lightning, and that's why I went Night Thrasher. And some of our returning characters are Dwayne Taylor, Night Thrasher, Janelle Chord, she is returning, and she's going into her superhero name of Silhouette, similar to how Jennifer went and became Lightning sort of this season. Danielle Taylor is returning as Bandit, and again, he sort of served as Anissa's analog of Thunder. Aaron Chord, who was the brother of Janelle Chord, he is becoming Midnight's Fire, who is sort of a heroic character at the beginning and also becomes a villainous character, sort of how Painkiller fits into all of that. Billy Russo, Jigsaw, he's continuing to serve as a major antagonist in this show, and again, the Tobias Well character. Father Michael James is continuing on to be a mentor figure to these characters, and Andrew Chord is continuing to be sort of the Gamby character of the show. And then we move on to the recurring cast, and we get introduced to a person that would sort of serve as a love interest to Danielle, Bandit. I would just say that Bandit's character, who is Nimrita Prentice, and that is right, that is the cousin of Namor, Nimrita. She was someone that works with Night Thrasher in the comics in the New Warriors story, in the comic book run of New Warriors, and so I just thought, well, we need to sort of start introducing these New Warriors characters because Black Lightning very much worked with the Outsiders, and they very much had a lot of characters who were connected to the Outsiders in the show, and so it felt only necessary to start doing that with Night Thrasher with the New Warriors. And so Nimrita very much plays that role, and sort of the role of Grace Choi as well. And then we get into James Sharp Coronary. Then we get into the villain team, because in the Season 2 of Black Lightning, we got introduced to Major Disasters, who was a villainous bad guys who were infected with the experimental thing that the ASA created. I can't remember what it was called, but they were infected with that, the Major Disasters, and I'm just having them be a part of it now. And those characters are James Sharp, aka Coronary, Heidi Franklin, aka Pretty Persuasions, Thomas Sorensen, aka Mathmaniac, Dwight Hubbard, aka Impulse, and Asylum. I can't remember what their villain name is in the comics, but I know they're a villain team in the comics that fight the New Warriors a lot, and they deal with messing with the brain up here. They mess with the brain, and that's just how I'm having it work. And the good guys beat them. And we also have the return of Donald Clendon, aka Cardinal. Again, he's sort of serving as the La character of constantly coming back and being an antagonistic force for Night Thrasher. And then we sort of have like the bad guy that is sort of working, that helped create the bad guy villain team here, but also worked with the ASA. And I'm having that be Harmon Fermet, who in the comics is actually one of the leader of this villainous organization, but I'm reworking his character to where, yeah, he's connected to it, but he's not as connected as he is in the comics. He's just connected tangentially, and that's sort of how his character works. And Night Thrasher's entire thing is trying to beat Jigsaw and beat this villainous organization, and he does that. Jigsaw goes to prison this season. Yeah, that's how it worked. He went to prison in Season 2, the ASA took Tobias Well, and Jigsaw is being put into the evil, or in prison from this corporation that Harmon Fermet works with, and all the villains get beaten. And yeah, that's Night Thrasher Season 2. And now we move on to the crossover, the analog for Elseworlds. And at first I was going to make it a analog to another storyline, but then I was thinking, well, Elseworlds is basically the analog in comics to What If. And so I was like, alright, that original idea I'm throwing out the window, and I'm just calling this crossover What If. And the major characters that will be participating in this crossover are Iron Man, who will be appearing in, I'm going to mention the people who are appearing in all 3 episodes first. So Iron Man, Bethany Cabe, War Machine, Captain America, Steve Rogers, of course, Falcon, Spider-Man, Peter Parker's Spider-Man, will be involved in this season because Superman was involved in the show, so I thought it was only made sense to have Peter Parker appear. Gwen Stacy, Spider-Woman, would be, again, continuing on being the major player. And the other character who is serving as the main antagonist, who is serving as my John Deegan, my Dr. Destiny character, Owen Reese, aka Molecule Man. He's serving as sort of the main antagonist of this what if story. And of course, the Monitor is a major part of Elseworlds, and so that character is Uatu the Watcher. Uatu the Watcher is symbolizing the Monitor in this story. And I know you're all currently wondering, who is my Batwoman analog? And I'll get there shortly. I want to tell you about the other characters, and sort of the people that will be appearing mainly in episode 1 are Pepper Potts, Hercules, like only in episode 1, and it's just those two. They only appear in one episode. The people that are mainly appearing in just episode 2 are Bernie Rosenthal, Bucky, Winter Soldier, King Cobra, and Mary McFerrin, aka Titania, because there's a moment where they have to go to this hidden like Black Ops prison and to get what they need, because Owen Reese works at that Black Ops prison, and Titania is one of the people that is in that prison. She sort of serves as the Nora Freeze character. That's what I'm really trying to say. She serves as the Nora Freeze character. And Tony Stark, Iron Man of Earth 90214, again, I can't remember what Earth that is, but he's also serving as the Earth 90 John Wesley Shipp version of Barry Allen Flash. That's Tony Stark's version of that. And then we get into episode 3, and people that are mainly in episode 3 and like only in episode 3 are Rainey Robertson as the Hornet, Glory Grant, Kitty Pryde Shadowcat, and George Stacy. Those are the characters that are mainly in episode 3. And now the characters that are mainly only in 2 episodes. Edwin Jarvis is in episodes 1 and 2. Mary Jane Watson Parker is in episodes 1 and 3. Julius Mad Thinker is in episodes 2 and 3, and he's sort of serving as the Psycho Pirate character. And now I'm at the moment where I'm going to tell you who is my Batwoman, who is my Kate Kane analog, and that is Laura Kinney, X-23. So there you go. That is going to be the next show that I'm going to be touching upon in the next part, where the Batwoman analog is X-23 and my Batman analog is Wolverine. Hence why you haven't really heard me introduce Wolverine a lot in this entire run. It's because I'm waiting to touch upon a lot of the backstories of Wolverine and all that stuff with Weapon X and all that in the X-23 show. She is serving as my Batwoman character in Elseworlds and will be serving as my Batwoman character in the remainder of the Arrowverse. And What If is very much what you expect. Owen Reese is helped by Uatu the Watcher to sort of test our main heroes of Iron Man, Captain America, and Spider-Woman. Captain America and Iron Man get swapped into people thinking they're not who they are. They're actually the opposite. Spider-Man and Spider-Woman are the only 2 people that can tell when they go over to her Earth, and they go on and save the day. Owen Reese becomes Spider-Man, but like a little bit more powerful version of Spider-Man that can take on all of them. I don't have a version of Iron Man and Steve Rogers becoming characters similar to the Trigger Twins, because I don't know any characters that are similar to the Trigger Twins in Marvel. They're probably somewhere, and I just didn't think about it. But yeah, that is the What If Elseworlds crossover event of this episode, of this part, and that is it for part 6 of What If the Arrowverse Was Marvel. I hope you really enjoyed this series, because I'm having to talk a lot about all these shows, and next week is going to be even longer because I'm having to do the Batwoman analog as well. But after the part 7, Arrow will be done, and the crossovers will be done for a while, and we'll start wrapping down the Arrowverse, honestly, and that's sort of gonna start getting bittersweet because I really love the Arrowverse, and I personally miss the Arrowverse. So getting able to talk about what I would do for What If the Arrowverse Was Marvel, and then slowly get to the point where it's no longer going to be around, is going to be a little heartbreaking. But yeah, with all that being said, what were your thoughts on this part of Captain America, or the Captain Season 7, Iron Man Season 5, Spider-Gwen Season 4, The Exiles Season 4, Night Thrasher Season 2 and What If as the crossover. What were your thoughts? And also, what are your thoughts on me having X-23 be my Batwoman of the show? I really love to hear your thoughts. Whatever your thoughts are, please post them in the comments down below. Also, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. That really helps me very much, and it helps get this video out for other people. Also, again, hit the notification bell. That way you can be notified whenever a new video like this comes your way. And again, hit the subscribe button. That way you can be notified, or hit the subscribe button because it really helps and it lets you keep up to date with all the videos I have here on the channel. But until next time, I've been MrEliMac, you've been the audience, and I hope you all have a great rest of the day.